Welcome to Late Night Gaming. I'm Poem. I'm with my friend Vika, and this is the Off Meta series, episode 2. What's up, Vika?
Not too much. All the spoilers dropped today, the rest of the set, so real excited for for
Yeah,
brewing with the next set. But
I know you're excited to get to that, so I won't keep you long. But I know the community's dying to hear about your Tarkin Yellow deck that you did quite well with at the Minnesota Regional Qualifier. You want to just tell us? I've got the deck list on the screen here. You want to just tell the viewer a little bit about the deck? And again, this series is intended to kind of feature decks that um, perform well in tournaments, but are not really part of the meta, but they're a way for us to try to like attack the meta. So it's a little bit of like a victory lap or a winner's circle, for people that do well with the spice. So that's you, and so you're here.
sounds good.
And tell us about Tarkin Green or Tarkin Yellow.
Okay. Uh, yeah. So I would say it's sort of like it's a mid-range deck. Like you're trying to control the board. Um, you got some tools to do that. Like swoop down is really good in it. You've got Tarkin's ability to, change the math on units. So, if you both start with I mean, this doesn't happen because it's not in the deck, but if you both started with a 2-3 unit in space and you bump yours up to a 3-4, suddenly you're getting great trades. So you kind of always have his ability to do that. It also lets you like kind of delay actions a lot, which can be good. Um, but yeah, basically you're just trying to do, a strong turn one play like your 3-2 TIE fighter in space. You play it, you bump them up. Or really nice is when you've got your ISB agent and they've played a unit to the ground. You play your ISB, you ping for one, you bump it up to a 2-4, and you kill their turn one play. So it's got stuff like that. It's got a lot of really good tools. Like you've got Bazine, um, you got Hotshot Blaster, so you've got again, I guess access to I guess ways to always stay on curve. Like Tarkin's, because his ability costs one, he's really good at keeping you on curve, keeping you flexible too, where you can have you know a couple of 3 drops, and then you just know you're going to play one of the two depending on the situation. You can kind of like delay, use his ability to bump something up, and then choose which one to play, sort of thing. So he's super flexible, um, and yeah, so it's a lot of low cost units. We've got snow trooper lieutenants, which sort of function as our surprise strikes, since almost everything is Imperial. So yeah, there's no surprise strike, but we got our snow trooper lieutenants. We got scanning officer. I've got one in the main and two in the side. That'd be for like a hand one, or even like a Quinlan kind of thing. Bazine, obviously, for control. The Outland TIE Vanguard's really nice as a turn 2 play. Um, if you start with the TIE Fighter, it's 3-2. You bump it with Tarkin, it's 4-3. You play the Outland TIE, it's a 5-4. Like you can go aggressive that way. And then obviously, as you build these units up, you can do a huge barrage later on. If you're not scared of getting bounced, like you can high advanced on 4, make a huge unit, barrage on 5. That'll often, you know, often leads to like just games that you're gonna win because you just like wipe their board and then carry on. Um, Obviously, Victor Leader is really good. Waylay still really good against upgrades. Um, Confiscate, I've got 3 of. I don't really ever want to lose to upgrades where somebody just drops a dark saber and prays. I don't ever want those prayers to be answered. Or if they drop like a traitorous, like I want to win on the spot. Yeah, basically when their only outs is like a prayer, I don't want them to win that way. So always three confiscates. It's even just against shields. It's great. Like you pay one, you get rid of a shield. Can be really big there.
You're in like this
Um,
race situation sometimes with the other aggro decks in a sense, right? So you're, if Sabine can only really beat you with a dark saber or something, it's like, all right,
yes,
yeah,
yes. Or if you're up against Palpatine Blue, like their only out is traitorous, and like you just
yeah,
hang on to your confiscates and
right.
win.
Just things
Um,
like traitorous and
yeah,
trench and stuff when you're trying to build the tall guy. And it sounds like you just got this
yeah.
like, yeah. Go ahead.
Lurking Tie's the other really big one. It causes problems for a lot of decks, and you can grow it. Like once you make it 3/3, then perilous position doesn't stop it anymore. Um, or any other, I guess, -2 type effects. So you can sort of build it bigger to get out of range of most things. Um, Even just having like Victor Leader on the table can get it out of range. Um, and then so yeah, it,
So essentially,
against
so we've
against
got the
control you've got.
yeah, so we've got this
Sorry.
deck here. Like you've got this deck that's basically just a consistency powerhouse, right? Like Tarkin's
Mm-hmm.
ability just smooths out that curve. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like it's like baby oil, just or whatever, putting the powder
Yeah.
on it, like the baby powder. It's just it's so smooth. Like you're not
Yeah.
gonna have so every game you're just presenting this like well-oiled machine to your opponent and just asking questions to them about whether they have all the answers to the problems that you're posing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's mostly it's just so flexible. Like against the control decks, you've got Lurking Tie, you got three Lurking Ties, and you got your Bazines. I got a salvage in the sideboard, so you can get a fourth Lurking Tie. Um, and yeah, so basically against the control decks, you're obviously the aggro deck. So yeah, you got your Bazines, you got your Lurking Ties, you got your Waylays to bounce their huge units they're dropping at the end of the game. Um, and then against aggressive decks, Swoop Down is really doing a ton of work. Swoop Down and then confiscates to try and take away their Chewies or their Dark Sabers or whatever. Um, Swoop Down really does tons and tons of work for Tarkin because you can get your space unit to the right size to kill their leader, and not die back. So like against Sabine, basically everything's already hitting for 3. So you just play it, you take no damage back, you kill their leader for 1. Against Ray, you're you know by 6, you'll definitely have something that's just naturally 4 attack, and you've got a lot of action, so you can kind of delay and just wait till they bring out their leader, and then just swoop down and kill their leader. Um, it's not as great against hand green because it can be hard to control space. But against hand yellow, you're swooping down to kill Han when he comes out on 5. Um, so yeah, it can play both roles. Um, yeah, and it's really flexible, which I like a lot.
Yeah, when we talk about this deck, I feel like I just am hearing the word swoop down all the time. It's just constantly
Yes, yes,
um, swoop down and then swoop down and then and then we can swoop down. It's and
yeah.
yeah. So or if I have I want to build a mono green version or whatever, and I'm like, hey, but we could do this mono green Vika, and you're like, but then we won't have swoop down. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we like swoop down a lot. We like it. We build our space unit to the exact right size we need, and then we just swoop down, you know?
Yeah.
Usually they'll be you got a unit you've sort of been building up, they'll be looking out for barrage, you know, you spend a resource here or there so they feel safe from barrage, and then you swoop down and take out their leader for one, which is way better than barrage anyway,
Right.
and
It's like an
roll from
inexpensive
there.
way to just kill their leader, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
back to the list. Couple other follow-up questions here on the kind of the deck overview, and then we'll get into your tournament success. We kind of talked about some of the core cards so far. So something like a swoop down. Obviously, you mentioned the confiscates. You were really
Mhm.
high on making sure that those are there. You mentioned kind of
Mhm.
the early game units, the tile and the ISB. Um, so were there any other like core cards like under no circumstances would you ever cut this? Maybe that you haven't mentioned yet.
Um, I mean, I really like having both Vader and Cat at the top end. Um, so yeah, I don't see myself cutting either of those. I don't think I really pulled them out of matchups, like even like against Sabine, didn't really pull them out. Um, so those as well, just having a nice top end.
Of those two guys, like
And
which one do you find that you're casting more often that has a bigger impact on the game? Like of those two, if you know
it
somebody wanted to trim on
it
the top end a little bit.
depends. Yeah, it depends on the matchup. Like probably if I'm more aggressive than Cad Bane just coming down, getting rid of like, I don't know, Bright Hope and something else or
So he's cleaning up
um
sentinels, clearing the way, kind of thing. Just
yeah, he can kind of do that, and then you've got your huge body that can potentially for like 9 with a hot shot to like, you know, put him in check. Vader probably more on the control side. You know, you play him and kill something and put a threat on the board and bring out a Bazine, you know, to like wreck their hand at the same time. Or but he's also really good against Cassian. I guess so is Cad Bane. But yeah, so and yeah, I guess Cad Bane also stops Falcon when it comes out ready. So yeah, it's kind of matchup dependent, but both of them I find are pretty good. Even just Vader to kind of rebuild a board after a super laser blast or something along those lines.
is there anything that's like a in the deck now, but is a flex spot for you where you're like it's the kind of the 47th through 50th card kind of
I
thing?
guess in some ways the shuttle, but it can be when it's good, it's just so good. Um, I didn't base any RAID data vaults, and I didn't get to test against it either. But I don't know. My theory is that it's just gonna do so much work. They're stealing their experience, and anytime if you can steal a shield, like the value is just insane. So it's it's one that I guess could come out a fair bit. So it might be a little more meta dependent, but man, when it works, it just works so well. And sometimes even just moving a shield somewhere where it's needed, like moving its own shield, can be huge at times. So, but it's one that maybe could be pulled out. Um, but it's also Imperial, which is nice.
Did you do that
One thing
play?
that's
Did you do that play where you played this like in the tournament? I know we haven't gotten to the tournament yet.
I
Where you
don't
move
think
the shield? Like, is that a real thing?
I moved the shield. My match on stream against Maddie from KTOD, there was a spot. I think I might have even been on like 6 resources, and where it was, and I think I might have had, I think I had Tarkin on board. So I played it, and I played it basically for 6 because it was the only thing I played that round. But it let me put a shield on like a big tie that was then able to just straight up kill something else. I think it was maybe a hammerhead in space or something like that. But it just let me get a really clean big kill and then sort of roll a bit from there. But I never faced any Ray Data Vaults, so I didn't get to like steal the experiences like I wanted. I didn't face any Gar Yellows where I'd be, stealing shields for huge value. So it didn't really line up with my matchups too well, but it still did well.
You have a
So,
lot of
and
really
just
good.
having the Imperial tag is really
Oh,
important. Yeah.
yeah. You've got a lot of good things to say about the sort of what you identified as like the weakest card in your deck or most matchup dependent card. So that definitely speaks to what how you value the rest of your deck for sure. I know the
Hmm.
viewers kind of likely thinking that they probably have this question, and you've talked about it to me before, so I kind of know the answer, but I'll ask it. Is sort of the lack of ramp in your deck. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I've never used ramp in this. Like I use this deck in like Twilight as well. Um, so and even then, like I never didn't use ramp. Um, Tarkin needs bodies on in play. He needs Imperials in play to be good as a leader unit. So like if you ramp to 5, like if I played a 2-drop and then I played resupply like the next turn, and then Tarkin's coming out, probably the 2-drop's dead, and like I don't know, let's say I don't know, I play a unit and they like waylay it or whatever. Like if there's no unit for him to give experience to as a leader, then he's really bad. Like a 2/7, he can't buff himself or whatever. So like, yeah, just being a 2/7, that's awful. But if he comes out and he gives experience, he's basically like a 3/8, which is great. Um, and then he attacks the next turn. He's like a 4/9, so he's really good. But he needs you to have units in play, and well, he needs you to have Imperials in play. So, uh, yeah, it just never felt, or not never, but there were definitely times where like you'd ramp and you'd get him out and he just did nothing basically. So, you'd feel like what's the point or whatever. And there's Cham running around lots now, so like I think it's a little risky for ramp. Like definitely worth it
Yeah.
for a lot of decks, but Targan's just not. He's not the kind that where you get a big boost by getting him
It's,
out early.
it seems like, yeah, that was a great answer. It also kind of just seems like not having the ramp, playing the guys leans into your consistency kind of thing that you're going for with the deck.
Hmm.
That baby oil smooth thing that we were talking about before.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just like I'm
definitely.
putting the guys out. I'm putting the guys out. We're putting the experience on. We're doing this thing.
Hmm.
You gotta stop it, or it's gonna be a long day for you, kind of thing. So
Yeah,
I can see where the ramp kind of just complicates things. Maybe makes it easier for the
yeah, and like
opponent to stay on top of keeping the board clear and negating
yeah, and like on
visibility.
5, you would love to play a huge barrage, and like you don't. I mean, sometimes you do because you have to, but like you don't want to flip Tarkin out and like barrage off of him.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so you don't want to like dilute your best play.
Okay. All right. So let's hear about the tournament. How'd you do? What were some of the good matchups? Let's kind of start with some kind of the positives.
Sure. So I went 9-4. I went 7-2 on day one. And then I went 2-2 on day two. I faced 4 Sabines, 3 Sabine ECL, 1 Sabine Data Vault, and I went 4-0 against Sabine. So that was definitely a matchup I wanted to be good into, and Tarkin is good into that. You've got Swoop Down, obviously, to take care of Sabine. You got Confiscates, if they drop a Dark Saber, and then obviously you can build a huge unit and barrage off of it to sort of clear their board, and then you can kind of waylay away their uh, pose and wreckers once they've used up ECL. Um, so good into Sabine. Kira, uh, Kira wasn't as great. It felt kind of more even, but you've got tools between Bazine and your lurking ties, and an extra one with salvage, and potentially stealing a big shield with the shuttle if after she's used her ability. Waylays for, I don't know if they end up dropping like a reinforcement walker. So you've got tools. It's not like a great matchup, but I don't know if their hands, kind of clunky. They don't find no glory only results, like a lurking tie can just kind of run away with it. So I faced one. I went. I lost that one. I was 1-2 against it, and so I'd say that in general felt kind of even. Could go either way.
What were some of the, in
And
that
then
particular Kira matchup, if you don't mind me just probing some more, what were some of the key moments there? And do you think there's anything you could have kind of like maybe do to shore up that matchup?
yeah, I don't. I mean, you could maybe go with putting in some like Spark of Rebellions or some Jam Communications. If you wanted, kind of go a little more all in on preventing them from killing your lurking tie. So that'd be a thought. It'd be worth testing. I haven't really tested it, so I don't know.
You think maybe
I don't really have
jam,
much else coming, so
yeah, maybe jam communications, just try to prevent the 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 things that
yeah,
could kill that lurking tie.
or your favorite card there. What was unmasking the conspiracy? You know, could be, because then you're not out aspect,
You
so
can't tell people about that.
that could be
I haven't used that yet. I've been holding on to that one, man, for years.
it. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Oh,
cat's
that
out.
what a card.
Cat's out of the bag.
People don't even know what that
Um,
is. I have to put it up on the screen. Yeah, I'll put that up.
yeah,
Um, yeah, you
yeah.
would
So yeah,
need.
that could be a good one.
Uh,
Um, if you did that, maybe you'd bump up a little bit of smuggle or whatever to make up for the card loss. But
yeah, or run the Tarkin unit. No, I'm just kidding. I always liked that guy.
yeah,
Nobody likes that guy except for me, but I always liked him. But
I know you love
I didn't do as well as you at this.
it.
Haven't anyhow.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so Kira felt pretty even. Ray, I never faced any, but I assume I assume we'd steamroll Ray because he just killer with Swoop Down and like steal an experience with your shuttle, and like, yeah. From my I never, yeah, I never played against, so I don't know, but I just assume it just feels like it's going to be a real easy matchup. Um, and then uh, Han Green, like Han 1 Green, that's one that pretty easy to identify as like a problem matchup, because you generally want to start with your ISB agent or with the TIE fighter. And if you start with the TIE and they bring out their Falcon and they just kill your TIE, then you're just so behind. So like we've got scanning officers, but that's kind of out of your control. Like if they're, certainly if you're in the top cut and they look at your list, like you should never be able to hit on it early. Like maybe later you could, but doesn't matter by then. So you kind of need your confiscates if they're throwing pilots on the space units, on their 3-drop space units, then you would need your confiscate. And yeah, because I mean, I guess Waylay, if it's not Chewbacca, but it's probably Chewbacca's what they want to play. And even if you confiscate them, like, I mean, it'd be great, but I don't think it means you're like going to automatically win by any stretch, especially if they killed your turn 1 tie. You'd be, yeah,
It's just
still be in
hard.
some trouble there.
It's hard
Yeah,
against
and you
space
don't
heavy
get to do your,
aggro or space,
yeah.
space decks like that are going to prevent that early
I
setup.
I don't mind. I wouldn't say it's space decks. I would say it's only Han where
Okay.
they get to drop their, you know, their 3/4 and can just kill you, and suddenly your swoop down's not online, and like ISB's not great for building as a huge barrage target. Like, it's not the worst, but it's not the same as when you're doing it off of a space unit that you've built up. So hand green's a problem. That's a tough matchup. Yeah, I mean, I think you got to be looking for your confiscates, and hopefully you can kill Han when he comes out. You know, pump something up with Snowtrooper Lieutenant to one shot him, or a hot shot. But those are both pretty easy to see coming, I would say, or easy enough to see coming. But yeah, so Han Green's tough one. For Quinlan, Tarkentown, it's it feels fairly even. It's kind of harder to swoop down to 7. Like, it's definitely more difficult, but there wasn't tons of like waylays around, I would say. So you I felt okay into it. I played it twice. I went 1-1 against it. I won 2-0 and I lost 1-2. So, I had a slight winning record, but it's one that's not easy, but you're definitely live. Maybe, yeah, like a 45-55, and I'm not sure what side of that you'd be on, but decently even matchup.
I can see where like some
And
discard could get you. Like you don't really have a card draw engine or like enough a
we
lot of
have some
smuggle.
smuggle. We have some smuggle. But yeah, it could be a problem. I like that salvage is a 0-cost card, so you can kind of protect yourself a bit from force throw. Maybe
Hmm.
catch them in a spot where all they need is 1 damage. And they play it and they're banking on that 1 damage and they don't get it. Um, yeah,
Okay.
you're definitely the control in that one. Um, just sort of got to not walk into Plo Koon and stuff like that, and then
All right.
you're probably all right.
Well, I know
Um,
we wanted to talk a little bit about the set 5. Are we ready to kind of get into some of the Imperial cards? We were going to kind of do a little brainstorm on some of those that we might want to add in.
yeah, I could take a peek at that.
So, let's take a look here. I've got this prepared. Let's see. We're just going to kind of go through some of these cards and you just kind of tell me whether you think there's any hope of adding this card to the deck. So, we've got the green and yellow units that are Imperials. So you've got your Morgan Elsbeth and Grand Inquisitor. You think either of those could find a home?
Uh, like the leaders?
Oh, those are leaders. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I knew that. Make fun of me, internet. Um,
Uh,
it's goofy. I'm goofy like that. What about this guy, Vinay?
yeah, he seems like he could fit in the deck. He definitely were worth trying. Like, 2/4 is a good stat line. He helps with Tarkin's flexibility by letting you move those experience tokens around. Um, So yeah, I think he would definitely slot in, and you could see how he does. Yeah, he just seems like a good turn one play. So I'd say he probably could probably go in. I don't really know at the expense of what. Probably trimming a couple things down a little, but like a scanning officer, maybe getting rid of a scanning officer, and
Is it just the 2/4 is a good stat line? Just getting that keeps it out of range
yeah,
of being
and he's an
killed early.
Imperial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
and
can't
just
get him with the
just being an
3/3.
Imperial is nice.
They can't get him with the 3/3 or or whatever, the 3/5 if they're like a Han deck or whatever, and you can just start pumping them up, kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. In general, we don't love being on the ground too much. Like, I guess, like if you look at the list, the most it jumps from a 2-drop ground unit to 7-drop. We don't really like hanging out on the ground. We don't want Poe and Wrecker
Mm-hmm.
ECLing in and just killing us. But as a turn one play, because we're kind of searching for good ones to have, he's, I think he'd be okay there.
Okay.
Yep. Specifically because he's like a 2-drop and
Yeah,
he's
he
a turn one play.
seems a little overstated with that 2/4. That seems pretty solid. Imperial. I think his ability is
Yeah.
going to become is relevant at all.
I could see it being relevant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see it being relevant.
Because of Tarkin's ability to put experience tokens on things, he can kind of
Yeah.
shift those around.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Just sort of, yeah, change the math on something to make a trade favorable, or
Mm-hmm.
if something's going to die anyways, you salvage that experience. So, yeah,
Oh, that's how that works.
I
Yeah.
think he'd be
Okay.
good.
He seems like a contender for sure.
Yeah.
I think we're putting him in
Yeah.
there. All right. What about these dudes? We've got Captain Enoch, eighth brother, and Eye of Sion.
So, Captain Enoch, I mean, if you went more aggressive with it and you got to the point where you could play General Tog, because he's like, if you got troopers out, Tog's just amazing. Um,
That's a different deck, right? That's like a trooper version of this deck
yeah,
or something.
this would be
It's
a
a build
trooper version.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we, eventually hit kind of critical mass of Imperials and troopers, then I could see it. But it would be a different deck. Yeah, it would be centered around Tog having enough, and then Enoch could be awesome value sometimes. Um, yeah, yeah. Eighth brother, I'd say it's unlikely because I don't really see this going force. Obviously, Snoke is really similar to Tarkin. So I could see Eighth Brother maybe in a Snoke deck where you're using the Force. Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, and then Eye of Sion. Maybe to kill like those 3-4 units that Han One likes to bring out. Kill those Falcons. Um, but that would be much obviously much later, so I don't know if it would even really fit in that role, but that's kind of what would come to mind. um, for a use for it. But I think it'd be maybe if it wasn't, it'd be maybe more of like a sideboard type card.
You see, if they have a
Yeah,
lot of, if they have Falcons and a bunch of 3/4s, just kind of
yeah,
if you get the 2-for-1 on that or whatever,
yeah,
get a
exactly,
little bit of
exactly.
restore. It's sticking around. Okay.
Hmm.
What about down here? I've got a few more for you. Second Sister, Sand Trooper Cavalry, and the HK-87 Assassin Droid. You like any of those
Yeah.
guys?
Second sister, I don't think would fit because you just wouldn't have enough force cards to really uh, have her ability doing much for you. And we kind of, again, we sort of want to stay out of the ground. We want to be up in space, swoop down, take nice trades, or not trades, just just kill their unit, leave our unit around, build up
Yeah.
big guys in space, and then do big barrage to clear out their ground. We don't really want to be messing around on the ground at all.
Okay.
Um,
Do you think there's any
yeah.
non-unit cards that could fit from set 5? Like any events?
I mean, there was that new. These just came out today, but there was that new 5 cost upgrade that is almost kind of like a barrage, except it obviously only targets one unit. It was like craving power or something along those lines. Um, I could see that guy maybe. You
Let's take
take
a look.
advantage of having your big unit in space and then continuing to build it, I guess, for larger barrages later. But yeah, that one, I could see that one maybe.
Okay.
The rest of it, I don't think I've really absorbed enough yet to look at ones outside of just the obvious Imperial potential units.
I'm just taking forever to get craving power up here, but just stalling here. All right, I think I got it. There we go. Let's take a peek at that. So what does this guy do? Deal damage to an enemy unit equal to attached unit's power. Okay, so if you got a big guy, then you can. It's like like you said, like a built-in barrage, and then it sticks.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
does
It
that
could
does that
be good
plus
for like
two
killing leaders,
does the
and
plus
then the
two
+2
stick
sticks
on there?
around.
The plus two comes in, and then the when played occurs, so it counts the
Yeah,
plus two. Yeah, it's like a
yeah,
barrage that
yeah.
sticks.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be another tool for using one of your big space units to one shot a leader on
Okay.
5.
Yeah,
Um,
that seems pretty good.
yeah, so I could see that maybe find its way in.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Dang, man. So, is there? I guess my last question is sort of like, what do you think is gonna take to get this deck to the next level? You know, bring it to Galactics and take home that trophy. Like, do we need to see
I mean,
something in set 6? Are we there? Is it just
I think it's
a couple
pretty
tweaks?
there. I guess like if I quickly sort of run through Richmond here, or not Richmond, my like at Minneapolis, like yeah, it's good against Sabine. We went 4-0 against Sabine. Um, my match against Kira, there was only one I lost, but it was 2 of the games he played traitorous. One of them I had a confiscate. I win that game. One of them, he slammed it. I had all my resources up. Didn't didn't have the confiscate that game. Lost that one. If I have it in hand, I win that one. Although Wu's version did not have any traitorous, which I like when decks have traitorous because you can punish really hard. So if traitorous goes away, then that kind of takes that out of the equation a bit. Um, but I mean, I think it can definitely compete with Kira. I feel like Ray Data Vault, haven't played it, but I feel like it's just a free win, which is nice. Quinlan, I think you know they're not going to have as much experience against your deck. Like I feel like it's like pretty 50-50. Like both players can make good plays or whatever to win, but I don't feel uncomfortable in that matchup. And then yeah, we so I was incredibly swamped leading up to Minneapolis and didn't really get the time to prepare like I wanted, and uh like I'd considered like what I'd sideboard and just sort of considered the matchup for against Sabine, against Kira, against Quinlan, against Ray, Data Vault, against Hand Green, and then against what was like the other one? What would have been the sixth main one? I can't really remember. But anyway, the next two on my list, which I never got to at all, were Hand 2 Green, which I ended up facing against KTOD Maddie on the first round of day 2. And it went smoothly enough. I think that'd be good for us because with their units often coming in damaged, our barrages can do huge work. So I think that would be, maybe a plus matchup. And then the other one was Vader Yellow, which I had the biggest punt I've ever punted in any game ever. I forgot that because you just never see pilot leaders around because they get killed by Confiscate. I forgot in the moment that Confiscate kills the Darth Vader leader, which is just like wild. But if I'd even had like 10 minutes where I just sort of made just the slightest notes about what I would do if I faced a Vader Yellow, then I'd be like, Confiscate's the single most important card. And I went 1 and 2, and I think I sided the Confiscates out, and that should have been a 2-0 easy win.
Mm-hmm.
Like I won the first game, and then should have been an easy 2-0. At which point, we're sitting at 9 and 2, and hopefully on our way to the top 8 there. So I don't know. I think it's there. Yeah, it's just got tools against everything. The one Quinlan game match that I lost, the big swing on that one was I had gotten Spark on 5, so I'm top decking into 6, and I hit like a TIE Fighter and a Cad Bane. So I had to decide whether to play nothing. And I hadn't hit any of my smuggle cards that game either, so it was either completely skip 6 or not ramp, so you could play a TIE Fighter. So I resourced the TIE Fighter, and I was in total control. But when you skip a full turn, and then the next turn, he didn't even really have a board after 6, not much of one. I had Cad Bane, and I was like, I think I could have taken something that had 2 health, so I decided to wait on it, and he played Akira, and then I can't even play my Cad Bane. So I basically skipped 6, skipped 7, and ended up, kind of narrowly losing that one. So, like the losses that I had, and the other loss was to Hand Green, where I just got steamrolled. That one was on screen. They dropped Falcon, dropped Chewie on it, didn't have Confiscate, and I think both games were kind of like that, where I just got steamrolled. But otherwise, like the other losses, yeah, one was a traitor, so I didn't have Confiscate in hand. One was just kind of drawing air a few turns in a row where you're in control, and then and then super punting against Vader Yellow, because I just didn't have any prep into it at all. Well, I feel so bad about that one, because like just even prep into any pilot leader would have got me there. And obviously I know it kills it, but yeah. So I don't know. I think it's right there. I think it's totally there.
Vika, I still think like you're getting, this is still pretty legendary. This is some legendary levels of amazing here. Taking Tarkin to where you did in a big tournament. I mean,
Michael, come here.
You should be proud of yourself,
man.
We
got Vika Jr. here.
Vika Jr.
Yeah, Michael. His favorite toys are his calculator. So one day he'll be changing the math with Tarkin as well to make it favorable.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you taking your time out of your set 5 brainstorming to record this with me, and I hope you can take down worlds with this, man. I know you can do it.
Yeah, I could see myself bringing it, but I mean, I'm gonna try so much stuff.
I
I
know.
I love the idea of using the force and all the new mechanics and whatnot. So
Yeah.
so yeah.
And yeah, and so again, I'll just say make a little disclaimer out here. If you know anybody that does well in the tournament, even if it's a PQ or something like that with a off meta deck, have them reach out to me or Loopy or one of the other late night guys, and we'll get them on here. And again, I want to thank Vika for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
All right. And if you made it this far, you're my hero. See ya.
All right.